The sky above Xelion Prime was a swirl of deep purple and fiery orange, streaked with shimmering clouds that glowed under the light of 3 distant suns. The planet's surface was unlike anything Marcus Hale had ever seen. Towering crystalline trees stretched toward the sky, their branches humming faintly as if alive. Strange, luminescent plants covered the ground, pulsing in gentle waves of blue and green. The air smelled faintly metallic, with a touch of something sweet and foreign. Marcus adjusted his helmet, wiping a streak of sweat from his brow. His human expedition team had landed here 5 days ago, hoping to study Xelion Prime's unique energy fields. They had been careful, following all the protocols. Yet despite their caution, the mission had already gone wrong. Marcus, we've lost contact with the survey drones, called Lieutenant Rena Torres over the comms. Her voice, calm but urgent, cut through the hum of the jungle. Marcus frowned, scanning the glowing horizon. The drones were essential for mapping the energy currents in the area. Without them, the team was flying blind in a place no human had ever explored. Keep calm. Marcus replied. We'll track them manually. Everyone, stick close. As the team moved through the crystalline undergrowth, the ground beneath them began to vibrate. A low, rumbling hum grew louder and louder. Marcus' heart beat faster. The energy fields here were unpredictable, and he knew the danger could strike at any moment. Suddenly, the earth split ahead, opening a jagged rift that emitted blinding light. A figure fell through the rift with a scream that pierced the air. Marcus reacted instantly. He sprinted forward, ignoring the searing heat radiating from the fissure. His hands shot out and caught the falling figure just before they were swallowed by the glowing chasm. It was an alien, unlike any creature Marcus had ever seen. Her skin shimmered with iridescent hues, and her eyes were deep pools of silver that reflected the light around her. She was tall and regal, with flowing hair that floated as if underwater. Her body shimmered with a natural armor, delicate yet strong. Marcus realized with awe that this was no ordinary being. She was royalty, a queen of her people. He set her down gently, checking quickly to see if she was injured. The alien's breathing was shallow, but her chest rose and fell steadily. Relief washed over him. You're safe now, Marcus said softly, unsure if she could understand him. I got you. The queen's eyes blinked slowly, and she tried to rise. Marcus placed a hand on her arm to steady her. She looked at him with a mixture of confusion, gratitude, and something he couldn't quite read. Who are you? He asked. Her voice was melodic, unlike anything human. She spoke a few words that Marcus couldn't understand. Yet, there was a calm authority in her tone, an unmistakable command that radiated from her very presence. We need to move, Marcus said. The rift could collapse at any second. He helped her step away from the glowing fissure. Around them, the jungle seemed to react to her presence. The luminescent plants pulsed faster, as if sensing the alien's energy. Marcus felt a shiver run down his spine. Xelion Prime was alive in ways he had never imagined. As they moved deeper into the jungle, Marcus' team caught up. Rena's eyes widened when she saw the alien queen. Marcus. Is that? She started, but Marcus shook his head. Not now. We need to get her to safety first. The team led the queen to a natural shelter formed by massive crystalline formations. Inside, the light from the crystals bathed the space in soothing shades of violet and turquoise. The queen sat, her posture graceful even in exhaustion. Marcus noticed a faint scar along her arm, glowing slightly with a soft blue light. It was a mark of some past struggle, and it made him respect her even more. Marcus knelt beside her, checking for injuries. There were minor cuts and bruises, but nothing life-threatening. Still, the stress of the rift had left her weak. He offered her some water, and to his surprise, she accepted, touching the cup delicately with long, slender fingers. Do you understand me? Marcus asked gently. She nodded slowly, her silver eyes fixed on him. For hours, Marcus and the queen sat in silence, listening to the faint hum of the jungle. Words were not enough to describe what they felt. Marcus was struck by her calm determination and quiet strength. She was a queen, a ruler of countless lives, yet here she was, vulnerable and human-like in her need for help. That night, the temperature dropped, and the glow from the crystals provided the only light. Marcus built a small fire, careful not to disturb the delicate jungle around them. The queen watched him, curiosity flickering in her eyes. Marcus smiled softly. "I know this must be strange for you," he said, "but you're safe here. No one will harm you tonight." She tilted her head slightly, studying him. Marcus felt as if she was trying to understand him, reading not just his words but his intentions. He realized she was intelligent beyond measure, a mind capable of understanding far more than humans could. Slowly, the queen moved closer, sitting beside him by the fire. Marcus noticed that despite her regal bearing, she seemed weary, lonely. The weight of her responsibilities, her empire, must have been immense. He understood, on a human level, how it felt to carry the world on your shoulders. They spoke in gestures, in shared glances, and in small, simple words. Marcus taught her a few human phrases, and she repeated them, her voice melodic and strange but endearing. In return, she guided his hands over the strange patterns of her skin, showing him the faint luminescence that ran like veins beneath her surface. Hours passed, and the two humans and aliens shared an understanding that needed no words. They laughed softly at mispronounced words, marveled at the colors of the jungle, and found comfort in each other's presence. For a brief moment, the universe felt small. The dangers of Zelion Prime, the collapsing rifts, the pressures of empire and duty, they all disappeared. There was only trust, warmth, and a connection that transcended species and worlds. As the suns began to rise, painting the sky with streaks of gold and crimson, Marcus knew the moment was ending. The Queen's guards would arrive soon, and the political consequences of her disappearance could not be ignored. "I have to go," he said softly. Her silver eyes widened slightly, as if understanding the weight of his words. Marcus helped her to her feet, supporting her gently. "Thank you," she said, in a language he now partially understood. "You saved me." Marcus nodded, a lump in his throat. That's what anyone would do. And then, as quietly as he had appeared in her life, Marcus turned and walked away. The jungle seemed to sigh round him, as if it mourned the loss of a bond that had barely begun. The queen watched him leave, her heart heavy but her respect for this human warrior stronger than ever. For Marcus, the jungle returned to its dangerous quiet, the hum of energy fields a constant reminder of the perils that awaited. Yet he carried with him a memory, a connection that would not fade, no matter how far the stars took him from Zelion Prime. That night, the alien queen gazed at the horizon, the place where he had disappeared. Somewhere out there, Marcus Hale was alive, and somehow, she knew, their paths were not done crossing. 5 years had passed since Marcus Hale disappeared from Zelion Prime. In that time, the galaxy had changed in ways he could never have imagined. For Queen Seralith, every day had been a careful balance between ruling her empire and quietly searching for the human who had saved her life. Her palace, a sprawling structure of crystal and metal, shimmered under Zelion Prime's 3 suns. Seralith sat in the observation chamber, staring at the stars. She traced her fingers over a holographic map of human-inhabited systems, her mind tirelessly calculating, analyzing, and hoping. Marcus Hale was not just any human. He was brave, intelligent, and unlike anyone she had ever met. More than that, he had saved her life. That single act had changed everything. She had spent years learning the human languages, studying their history, and sending secret scouts to search for him. Every report was a faint echo of hope. Every clue led to a dead end. Her advisors warned her against the search. They said humans were unpredictable, fragile, and often self-interested. But Seralith knew better. Marcus was different. She had seen it in his eyes and the way he acted without hesitation when danger struck. He did not calculate only for himself, he risked everything for others. That was the mark of someone extraordinary. Meanwhile, across the galaxy, Marcus had moved from one frontier to the next. After the Zelion Prime mission, he had joined a human exploratory fleet, traveling to planets few humans had ever seen. He had survived storms of molten gas, navigated asteroid fields, and faced alien predators, yet No matter how far he traveled, he could not forget the night with the alien queen. He often closed his eyes and remembered the glow of the jungle, the warmth of her presence, and the way her silver eyes seemed to look into his very soul. That brief night had been a connection unlike anything he had experienced, and yet, duty had called him elsewhere. He had disappeared to protect both her and himself, believing it was the right choice. But Seralith had not given up. Every year, she marked the anniversary of that night with a quiet ritual. She would release a small, crystal orb into the energy currents of Zelion Prime, a message carried by the planet itself. Each orb was a signal, a trace of hope for the one who had saved her life. This year, the orb behaved differently. It shimmered, brighter than ever before, and moved faster through the currents. Seralith's heart raced. Could it be? Could it finally be him? Her personal scouts confirmed it. A human-fitting Marcus description had been sighted on the edge of the Vega system. He was working as a security advisor for a trade convoy, helping colonies under threat from pirates. The report spoke of his courage, his quick thinking, and his uncanny ability to inspire loyalty. Every word matched the human she remembered. Seralith could barely contain her excitement. She immediately ordered preparations for a personal mission. She would leave the palace and find him herself. The council protested, warning of political dangers and the risks of exposing the queen to an unknown human. But Seralith was firm. This human, she said, her voice calm but filled with determination, is not just a man. He is a force of change, and I will find him. The Vega system was nothing like Zelion Prime. Its twin suns cast harsh shadows over the barren planets, and the spaceports were crowded with ships of all shapes and sizes. Marcus maneuvered his convoy through the busy lanes, unaware that someone extraordinary was searching for him. He had grown older, more experienced, and slightly weary from years of responsibility. Yet he remained the same man Seralith remembered, courageous, compassionate, and unyielding. One evening, after completing a particularly dangerous mission to protect the colony from pirate attacks, Marcus sat alone in his small quarters, reviewing reports. His mind wandered to Zelion Prime, and a pang of nostalgia hit him. He could still feel the Queen's presence, her quiet strength, and the bond they had shared. 5 years, he muttered to himself, shaking his head. Have I really been away that long? He didn't notice the holographic alert blinking on his console until it flashed a warning. A small, unidentified vessel approaching fast. Marcus activated the sensors. The ship was elegant, unlike anything human technology had produced. Its design was sleek, shimmering with energy fields that made it almost invisible to the naked eye. Marcus' heart skipped a beat as recognition hit him. He didn't yet know why, but something about this ship felt familiar, otherworldly, and undeniably connected to the Queen he had saved. Meanwhile, aboard the alien vessel, Seralith observed her target carefully. Marcus was older, stronger, more confident than she remembered, but the essence of him was the same. Her pulse quickened. After years of searching, she had finally found him. She activated the communication channels, speaking in the human language she had studied tirelessly. Her voice was calm, but carried an authority Marcus would recognize anywhere. Marcus Hale, she said, I have been looking for you. Marcus froze. His fingers hovered over the console. The voice was impossible, yet he knew it. There was no mistaking it. Seralith, he whispered, disbelief and joy mixing in his tone. Yes, she replied. It has been 5 years. I never stopped searching. For a moment, the vastness of space seemed to shrink. The distance, the time, the challenges, none of it mattered. The connection they had shared was still there, alive and strong, as if the universe itself had kept it safe for this moment. Marcus felt a mixture of relief and excitement. He had thought of her countless times, wondering if she had survived the rift, if she remembered him, and now, hearing her voice, he knew that bond had never faded. You found me, he said, still in disbelief. I promised I would, Seralith said softly, and now, we will have a chance to see if that night was more than a memory. Over the following days, Marcus and Seralith met in secret aboard her vessel. They shared stories of the years apart, learning about each other's struggles and triumphs. Seralith explained the delicate balance of her empire, the political tensions, and the constant responsibilities that had shaped her life since they last met. Marcus shared tales of human frontiers, of daring missions and dangerous journeys, and of the friendships he had formed along the way. Despite the differences in their worlds, they found understanding in each other's experiences. Seralith admired Marcus' unwavering courage and his ability to act selflessly. Marcus marveled at Seralith's intelligence, her strength, and the way she had survived the burdens of leadership with grace and determination. As they spoke, the bond they had formed 5 years ago began to grow again. It was no longer just a memory of a single night. It was a connection built on respect, trust, and shared experiences. But danger was never far away. There were factions within Seralith's empire that viewed Marcus as a potential threat. A human allied with the Queen could disrupt delicate political alliances and shift the balance of power. Spies and assassins watched from the shadows, waiting for a chance to act. Seralith knew she had to protect Marcus, but she also knew she could not hide from the realities of her empire. And Marcus, who had survived countless dangers, understood that their reunion would not be simple or easy. Yet, despite the risks, both of them felt a quiet determination. They would face whatever challenges came together. The universe had given them a second chance, and they were not going to waste it. For Marcus Hale, 5 years of searching and wondering had led to this moment. For Queen Seralith, years of patience and hope had finally borne fruit across the stars. Two beings from different worlds were united once again, ready to face the challenges of the galaxy side by side. And as the alien ship moved through the Vega system, its hull shimmering under twin suns, both of them knew this was only the beginning. The universe was vast, full of danger and wonder. But together, they could face it all. The Galactic Summit was a spectacle unlike any Marcus Hale had ever seen. The space station hosting it floated at the edge of the Andara cluster, a vast spiral of stars and planets that gleamed like a jewel against the darkness of space. Ships from countless civilizations of all shapes and sizes filled the docking bays, their colors and designs reflecting the ingenuity of their species. Marcus stood on the observation deck of the human delegation vessel, staring at the glittering panorama below. For years, he had traveled to distant worlds, fought pirates, and explored uncharted territories. Yet the grandeur of this summit was humbling. Leaders from dozens of alien empires had come together in a rare gesture of diplomacy. Still, Marcus' mind was elsewhere. 5 years had passed since he had last seen Queen Seralith, yet her presence lingered in his thoughts. He had no idea she would attend this summit. If she did, it would be dangerous, not just for her, but for him. Humans were a curiosity to most species, and a human associated with an alien queen could upset delicate alliances. He adjusted his uniform, making sure everything was in order. As a security advisor, he had to be alert at all times. His experience in frontier missions had trained him to anticipate danger before it arrived. Then, the doors of the main hall opened. A hush fell over the gathering. Delegates turned their attention toward the entrance, and Marcus felt an unfamiliar tension in his chest. Queen Seralith appeared. Her presence was impossible to ignore. She moved with a grace and confidence that commanded attention. Her silver eyes scanned the room, and Marcus felt an almost magnetic pull. Time seemed to slow. And then, their eyes met. Marcus froze. It had been 5 years, yet he recognized her instantly. Her gaze held the same strength, the same quiet warmth he remembered from Zelion Prime. The crowd around them seemed to blur, and for a moment, it was just the two of them. Seralith stepped forward, her voice clear and deliberate as she addressed the assembly. I have come not only as the sovereign of the Zelion Empire, but also as someone who has waited years to find a human who once saved my life. A murmur ran through the hall. Delegates exchanged confused glances. Human and alien alike were intrigued, unsure of what this announcement meant. Marcus' heart pounded. She was speaking directly to him, and everyone was watching. He took a cautious step forward, feeling the weight of the moment. The Queen's voice carried across the hall once more. Marcus Hale, she said. "I have crossed star systems to see you again." The room fell silent. Humans in the assembly whispered among themselves, and aliens tilted their heads in curiosity. Marcus felt a mix of disbelief, excitement, and nerves. He had imagined this reunion countless times, but he never expected it to happen like this, in front of the galaxy. "Soralith," Marcus said softly. His voice cracked slightly with emotion. I didn't expect to see you here." "You never left my thoughts," she replied, stepping closer. "I have searched for you for 5 years, and now, here you are." Their eyes locked, and for a moment, the distance of time and space collapsed. The dangers, the politics, the responsibilities, they all faded. What remained was a connection stronger than either of them had dared to hope for. After the initial shock, Soralith requested a private meeting with Marcus. They walked through quiet corridors, away from the bustling summit. The alien vessel assigned to her was sleek and silent, its corridors softly glowing with energy lights. Marcus followed her, his heart still racing from the public declaration. "I had to see you," Soralith said once they were alone. "I had to know if you were truly alive, if the bond we shared, if it meant anything beyond that night." Marcus took a deep breath. "It meant everything," he admitted. "I've thought of you every day since Zelion Prime, every mission, every battle, every quiet moment. I remembered that night." "I remembered you?" Soralith smiled, a soft, almost shy expression that revealed a side of her few had ever seen. "Then we were not imagining it. That night, it was real for both of us." They spent hours talking, recounting stories from the past 5 years. Marcus described the human colonies he had protected, the dangers he had faced, and the friendships he had formed along the way. Soralith shared her struggles in ruling the Zelion Empire, the challenges of diplomacy, and the careful decisions she had made to maintain peace among her people. Despite the differences in their worlds, their experiences mirrored one another in surprising ways. Both had faced danger, both had carried heavy responsibilities, and both had survived against odds that often seemed insurmountable. "You are extraordinary," Soralith said quietly, her silver eyes searching his face. "Not because of power or skill, but because of your courage, your choices, your humanity." Marcus smiled, humbled. "And you are extraordinary, Soralith, not just as a queen, but as someone who can carry the weight of an empire with grace. And yet, you were still able to see me, to remember me." The connection between them was undeniable. For Marcus, it was a reaffirmation of the bond they had formed on Zelion Prime. For Soralith, it was a moment of relief, a confirmation that her years of searching had not been in vain. But the galaxy was not idle. Political observers from rival empires had noted their reunion. Rumors began to circulate, a human allied with the Zelion Queen, a bond that could shift the balance of power. Spies lurked in shadows, recording every interaction, analyzing every gesture. Danger was approaching, even in this seemingly peaceful moment. As the summit continued, Marcus and Soralith navigated the complex environment with care. They attended formal meetings, discussed interplanetary trade agreements, and witnessed debates that would shape the future of countless civilizations. Yet, despite the grandeur of diplomacy, their thoughts often returned to one another. In the quiet moments, they would steal brief conversations in hallways, sharing laughs and memories. Marcus taught Soralith subtle human gestures that conveyed humor and affection, and she showed him the intricate customs of Zelion royalty. Through these small interactions, they built a renewed connection, stronger and more resilient than ever. One evening, as the summit drew to a close for the day, Marcus and Soralith found themselves alone on a balcony overlooking the glittering stars. The twin suns of the nearby system had set, leaving the galaxy illuminated by countless distant lights. 5 years, Marcus said softly. "It feels like a lifetime, yet here we are." Soralith nodded, her expression thoughtful. "I never stopped hoping. Even when it seemed impossible, I believed you were out there, alive, waiting to be found." Marcus reached for her hand. Their fingers touched, and for the first time since Zelion Prime, they allowed themselves to fully acknowledge the bond that had drawn them together. "We've been given a second chance," Marcus said, "and I don't want to waste it." Sorelli's silver eyes glimmered. Nor do I. As they stood together, the galaxy stretched endlessly before them, full of challenges, danger, and wonder. Yet for Marcus and Sorelli, that vastness no longer felt intimidating. They had found each other again, and together, they were stronger than any threat, more resilient than any challenge. And in the quiet of that moment, amidst the stars and distant planets, they both knew one thing: the story of Marcus Hale and Queen Sorelli was far from over. The summit had brought them together, but the real journey, the adventure that would test their courage, loyalty, and bond, was only beginning. The Galactic Summit had been an extraordinary reunion for Marcus Hale and Queen Sorelli, but the calm moments were fleeting. Even as they shared quiet conversations and stolen glances in the corridors of the summit station, the weight of the galaxy's politics pressed down on them. Inside the private chambers of her ship, Sorelli studied Marcus with a serious gaze. The silver light of distant stars filtered through the crystalline walls, casting a glow that made her appear both regal and vulnerable at once. "There are things I have not told you," she began, her voice steady but heavy with the importance of what she was about to reveal. "The night you saved me, it was not just a life-saving act. It created something rare among my people, a resonance, a bond between two beings that is almost sacred." Marcus tilted his head, surprised but intrigued. "A bond? What kind of bond?" Sorelli hesitated, then continued. "It is more than friendship or gratitude. It links to beings across time and distance. My people believe it can influence decisions, emotions, and even the outcome of events. It is powerful." Marcus felt a mix of awe and responsibility. "So, that night, what we shared, it wasn't just a moment of trust and understanding. It meant something more?" "Yes," Sorelli replied, her silver eyes searching his. "And that is why I could not stop searching for you. Even after 5 years, I could feel the connection calling me." Marcus nodded slowly, understanding the gravity of her words. "I've felt it too. A pull, a memory that never faded, even in the busiest, most dangerous moments of my life." Their conversation was interrupted by a soft chime from Sorelli's console. An alert indicated that several security readings were showing unusual activity near the summit station. Her expression hardened. "They are here," she said quietly. "There are factions within my empire that see you as a threat. They believe a human with this bond could disrupt their plans, challenge their authority, or even destabilize the balance of power." Marcus frowned. "So, they're after me?" "Yes," Sorelli confirmed, "and they will not hesitate. You must understand, Marcus, this is more than personal. It is political, and it is dangerous." The weight of her words pressed on him. But Marcus felt a surge of determination. "Then we face it together. Whatever comes, we stand together." Sorelli's eyes softened, a mix of gratitude and relief shining through. "I hope you would say that. You do not know how long I have waited to hear those words." Outside the ship, the summit continued. Delegates were busy with negotiations, unaware of the growing danger. But Marcus and Sorelli knew it was only a matter of time before their enemies acted. Shadows moved in the docking bays, cloaked figures slipping between ships with stealth technology. They were spies and assassins, trained to strike at exactly the wrong moment. Back in her private chambers, Sorelli outlined the situation to Marcus. "These factions are powerful, well-connected. They have spies within the summit and even among my closest advisors. We cannot trust anyone fully. We must rely on our instincts and each other." Marcus absorbed the information quickly, his military training kicking in. "Then we need a plan. Surveillance, security measures, and a way to counter any attack. We'll stay one step ahead." Sorelli nodded, agreed. "But there is something more you must understand. The bond we share. It makes you visible to them in ways you cannot imagine. They can sense it. Some will want to use it, others to destroy it. And some may try to manipulate you both." Marcus felt a chill, but he refused to let fear control him. "Then we stay alert, trust each other, and keep moving. No matter what they try, we'll face it head on." That evening, the quiet tension of the summit was broken by a sudden alarm. Security personnel rushed through the halls, announcing an intruder aboard the station. Marcus and Sir exchanged a quick glance, both understanding immediately that the threat was closer than they had imagined. They moved swiftly to a secure observation deck overlooking the docking bay. From there, they could see a group of cloaked figures attempting to board the station using advanced stealth technology. The humans present were unaware of the danger, and the alien security teams were struggling to respond quickly. "Here they come," Marcus said, his voice steady. "We need to intercept before they reach the central command." Sir activated a defensive protocol on her ship, causing protective energy shields to form along key corridors. The intruders were skilled, moving with precision, but Marcus and Sir had the advantage of foresight. Together, they coordinated a counterattack. Marcus directed human security teams, anticipating enemy movements based on years of battlefield experience. Sir used her knowledge of her empire's technology to control energy barriers and guide Marcus' team safely through the station. The battle was tense but controlled. The intruders were formidable, yet Marcus' human ingenuity and Sir alien abilities combined in a way no one expected. Together, they outmaneuvered the attackers, forcing them to retreat back into space before they could reach the summit's core. Once the immediate threat was neutralized, Sir and Marcus took a moment to assess the situation. Both were breathing heavily, but there was no room for exhaustion. "They will return," Sir said, her voice calm but resolute. "And next time, they will come stronger." Marcus placed a hand on her arm. "Then we'll be ready. Whatever comes, we face it together." Sir eyes met his, and for a moment, the danger of the galaxy faded. Here, in this small moment, they had each other, and that was enough to give them courage. The next morning, Sir held a private council with Marcus to discuss the larger implications of their bond. "The factions that oppose you are influential," she explained. "They believe that if you remain near me, it could shift alliances, spark rebellions, or even ignite conflicts between species. They are not willing to wait quietly." Marcus listened carefully. "So, we need to be proactive, not just defensive, but strategic. We need allies we can trust and a plan that keeps us ahead of them." Sir nodded. "I agree. I have contacts within other empires who respect my authority and understand the importance of our bond. If we approach them carefully, we can build a network of support." Together, they devised a plan. Marcus would coordinate with human security teams and other trusted allies, while Sir would use her influence within her empire to monitor political movements and intercept threats before they reached them. It was a delicate balance, but one they were willing to manage as they worked through the day. Marcus noticed subtle changes in Sir. She was quieter than usual, more contemplative. Her silver eyes held a weight he had not seen before. "Sir," he said gently, "what is it?" She hesitated, then spoke. "The bond we share. It gives us strength, but it also makes us vulnerable. Those who seek to exploit it will stop at nothing, and I fear that some of my own advisors may betray us if they see an opportunity to gain power." Marcus reached out, taking her hand in his. "Then we stay vigilant, and we stay together. No matter what happens, we protect each other first." Her lips curved in a small, grateful smile. "Thank you, Marcus, for standing with me, for believing in me, for everything." He smiled back. "We are stronger together. That's all that matters." The summit continued, but Marcus and Sir moved with a new sense of purpose. Every interaction, every diplomatic meeting, and every public appearance was carefully calculated to protect both their positions and the bond they shared. The political tension around them was thick, but they refused to let it break their connection, and in the quiet moments, when the galaxy's dangers seemed distant, they would steal time for themselves, to talk, to laugh, to remember the night that had started it all. The bond they shared, sacred and rare, was no longer just a memory. It was a force that gave them courage, guided their choices, and strengthened them against any challenge the universe might bring. But as the summit approached its peak, both Marcus and Sir knew that the real test was coming. The factions opposed to their alliance would not rest. and the galaxy's political tides were shifting in ways that could threaten not just them, but the peace of entire civilizations, yet even in the face of growing danger. One truth remained clear: Marcus Hale and Queen Seralith were no longer apart. They had found each other again, and together they would face whatever the universe had in store. The Galactic Summit had reached its final day, and tension hung thick in the air. Delegates from dozens of species gathered to finalize alliances and trade agreements, unaware of the storm brewing in the shadows. From Marcus Hale and Queen Seralith, every step through the halls of the summit was measured, cautious, and alert. Reports had come in overnight. Hostile factions within Seralith's empire had mobilized a strike team. Their plan was clear: capture or eliminate Marcus and disrupt Seralith's authority. If they succeeded, it could trigger chaos across multiple systems. Marcus stood in the observation chamber, scanning the docking bays through the station's security monitors. His human instincts, honed through years of frontier missions, were on high alert. He spotted multiple cloaked ships approaching the station, moving with precision and speed. "They're coming faster than we expected," Marcus said, voice steady despite the rising tension. "We need to act now." Seralith placed a hand on his shoulder. "We face them together," she said. Her silver eyes glimmered with determination. "Whatever happens, we do not falter." Together, they mobilized a defensive strategy. Seralith activated energy shields along the station's perimeter, while Marcus coordinated human and allied forces to intercept the incoming attackers. Communication channels buzzed with rapid updates, and every security unit took its position. The first wave of intruders hit the docking bay with a sudden burst of speed. Cloaked ships zipped toward the station, their weapons charged. Human pilots scrambled to engage, but the attackers were skilled and relentless. Marcus directed defensive maneuvers, anticipating each strike with precise timing. "Focus on their lead ship," he shouted. "If we disable it, the rest will retreat." Seralith's hands moved over her console, directing energy shields to form barriers in the attacker's path. The shields hummed with power, absorbing blasts and protecting vital sections of the station. Together, human and Xelion forces worked seamlessly, coordinated by the bond Marcus and Seralith shared. Amid the chaos, Marcus spotted a squad attempting to breach the central command hub. He grabbed a personal transport pod and headed toward them, determined to confront the intruders directly. Seralith followed in her smaller escort vessel, her energy pulses creating protective fields around him as he advanced inside the hub. Marcus and the attackers clashed in close combat. Marcus' years of human training and tactical thinking gave him an advantage. He disarmed foes quickly, using their own momentum against them, and guided security units to take control of the situation. Every move was calculated, precise, and daring. Meanwhile, Seralith coordinated from above, using her ship's energy systems to disable enemy cloaking devices and neutralize their weapons. She was in perfect harmony with Marcus, their actions synchronized as if they shared a single mind. The attackers, despite their skill, began to falter. Marcus' leadership inspired the human units, while Seralith's authority kept the Xelion forces steady. The bond they shared, forged 5 years ago on Xelion Prime, had become a tangible force, empowering allies and demoralizing enemies. Finally, the lead ship of the attackers was cornered. Marcus and Seralith worked together to disable its engines and force its surrender. The remaining intruders, seeing their plan fail, retreated into space. The immediate threat was over, but both Marcus and Seralith knew this was only the beginning. After the battle, the summit resumed, but with a new understanding of human and Xelion cooperation. Delegates who had once been skeptical now watched Marcus and Seralith with respect, realizing that their partnership was not just personal, but a force that could unite civilizations. In a private chamber, Marcus and Seralith finally allowed themselves a moment of rest. Both were exhausted but exhilarated, the adrenaline of battle still coursing through their veins. "You were amazing," Seralith said softly. Her voice held admiration and warmth. "I never doubted that you would rise to the challenge." Marcus shook his head with a grin. "We both did. It's not just me, it's us. Together, We were unstoppable. Sorelli's silver eyes softened. 5 years ago, I never imagined this moment. I only hoped we would meet again. And now, here we are. Marcus reached for her hand, holding it gently. We found each other again, Sorelli, and we won't let anything tear us apart this time. Their shared moment was interrupted by a comm alert. Intelligence had detected a final movement from the hostile factions, a smaller, covert operation aimed at destabilizing the summit before it officially ended. Marcus and Sorelli immediately mobilized a small elite team to intercept. The attackers were clever, using hidden energy corridors to approach the main chamber. Marcus anticipated their moves, directing units to cover each exit. Sorelli used her ship's advanced sensors to detect hidden energy signatures, giving them an advantage. In the ensuing confrontation, Marcus led the charge. His strategic thinking and combat skills allowed him to outmaneuver the attackers. Sorelli's energy fields protected the team, and together, they captured the intruders before they could reach key delegates. When the threat was finally neutralized, both Marcus and Sorelli stood in the central chamber, surrounded by allies and observers from across the galaxy. Their presence commanded attention, and every species present recognized the significance of their victory. Today, Sorelli announced, her voice clear and commanding, "We have faced danger together and emerged stronger. Let this be a symbol of cooperation, courage, and unity. The galaxy can achieve greatness when beings from different worlds trust and protect one another." Marcus stepped forward, his human voice carrying confidence and determination. "This is proof that humanity can rise to the challenge, no matter the odds. Together, with allies who believe in justice and courage, we can face anything the universe throws at us." The room erupted in applause. Delegates, soldiers, and observers recognized that Marcus and Sorelli had not only protected the summit, but had set an example of heroism and leadership. Across the galaxy, news of their actions would spread, inspiring others to value courage, loyalty, and unity. Later, in a quiet observation room, Marcus and Sorelli finally allowed themselves to speak freely. "Away from the eyes of the galaxy, you saved my life," Sorelli said softly, her silver eyes fixed on him. "And then, you stood by me again when it mattered most." "I don't know how to thank you enough," Marcus smiled gently. "You don't need to. We found each other again, and we proved that together we can face anything. That's enough for me." Sorelli reached out, resting her hand on his cheek. "We have been given a second chance, Marcus. 5 years apart, and now, we won't waste it." Marcus leaned closer, his voice low but sincere. "I won't. This time, I stay. No disappearing, no hesitation. We face the future together." The bond between them, once a fragile memory from a single night on Zelion Prime, had become unbreakable. It gave them courage, strength, and a sense of purpose beyond themselves. Together, they were not only protectors of their own hearts, but also guardians of the fragile peace in the galaxy. As the summit concluded, the galaxy witnessed a historic moment. Marcus Hale, the human who had saved an alien queen, had proven that courage, loyalty, and determination could transcend species, politics, and even time. Queen Sorelli's decision to search for him, to trust in the bond they shared, had altered the course of history. Their story became a symbol of hope. Across planets and star systems, beings of all kinds heard the tale, a human and an alien queen, united by courage and respect, overcoming danger together. It inspired peace talks, strengthened alliances, and reminded the galaxy that true strength comes from unity, trust, and the willingness to stand for what is right. For Marcus and Sorelli, the journey was far from over, but they faced it side by side, ready to confront any challenge, knowing that together, there was nothing they could not overcome. As they stood on the observation deck of the summit station, watching the stars stretch endlessly into the distance, both of them understood one simple truth: the universe was vast, full of danger and wonder, but with courage, trust, and the bond they shared, they could face it all. And this time, neither of them would ever disappear from the other's life.